The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines.
And welcome back, everyone. Right now, Windows 8 simplifies today's matchup in St. Louis as we take you first on the field. So let's send you out live to the Jets-Rams game where Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts are standing by. Gentlemen.
JB, this game couldn't come soon enough for these two teams. The Jets trying to focus on football and block out everything else. The Rams trying to forget about last week's tie with San Francisco. It's been a tumultuous week for the Jets organization. Rex Ryan's team has dropped 3 in a row and are currently in the basement in the AFC East. As we welcome you to the broadcast booth. Hi, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. The Jets certainly have looked like a team in turmoil in recent weeks. This week, anonymous quotes. In past weeks, there have been empty guarantees. And the reality is the Jets are 3 games under 500 for the first time under Rex Ryan.
Yeah, and this team really has all the earmarks of a team that's ready to implode. If they don't win today, if they don't play better today, all those things can happen. But you got to give Ryan credit. He's sticking to his company line that maybe even this type of turmoil will draw this team closer together, and they'll be able to put out a better effort today. Right
smack in the middle of all the drama is the quarterback situation. Mark Sanchez, of course, the starter. He remains the starter. They made the big deal during the offseason to acquire Tim Tebow, yet Tebow's role is still fairly undefined. Where do we stand with the quarterback spot?
Well, in talking to Sanchez, he knows he has to play better to quiet things down a bit. But he also knows that the guy behind him is there, always there. And this is not the normal situation where you can just plug in a quarterback and have him take over when the starter is struggling. Tim Tebow is a unique athlete. He's not a unique quarterback. He has to have an offense designed specifically for him, just as the Denver Broncos did last season. The Broncos committed their entire offense to Tebow, and he got all the practice time, and that's the key here. There's not enough time for the Jets at this point in the season to make a wholesale switch to Tim Tebow and replace Mark Sanchez.
And keep in mind also in Denver last year, Denver didn't have a whole lot invested in Kyle Orton. They made the switch to Tebow. Jets have a lot of money still invested in Mark Sanchez. Well, if the quarterback situation is an area of unrest for the Jets, that's not the case for the St. Louis Rams. This is an improved football team. The Rams won 2 games all of last year. They are 3-5-1. Dan, they are coming off a bizarre game against the San Francisco 49ers, the first tie in 4 years in the NFL.
Yeah, but they're still undefeated in the NFC West, which makes them feel awfully good. And Sam Bradford told us yesterday he's reached a new comfort level in his development now in his 3rd season. And that was evident last week against the tough defense of the 49ers. His play in the tough 3rd down situations and hurry-up offense were impressive. The numbers were obviously good, but his leadership was even better. With Brian Schottenheimer's offense, Steven Jackson, Danny Amendola, and a bunch of young receivers, things are looking up for Bradford and the Rams.
Danny Amendola, his presence in the lineup has been a huge difference maker. This is just a better offense with him out there. He had the collarbone issue. The last time they won a game is when Amendola went down with that injury against Arizona, and Amendola will be a factor here today. Time right now for our Tools for Success, presented by Home Depot.
Running back Steven Jackson's coming off his best game of the season, over 100 yards rushing against the Niner defense last week in San Francisco. Muhammad Wilkerson provided the Jets only points last week against the Seahawks. More of the same is needed today. Jets have 3 defensive touchdowns this season, but the Jets have only 5 rushing touchdowns so far, and all 5 have come from running back Shawn Green. The Rams have 25 sacks, with the pressures coming from defensive ends Chris Long and Robert Quinn. Sanchez has been dropped 21 times in just 9 games.
For more Home Depot player stats, log on to CBSSports.com. The Jets taking on the Rams in Week 11 of this NFL season. And we've got all the action for you coming up from the Edward Jones Dome. This is the NFL on CBS. you to St. Louis for the NFL on CBS. And today the New York Jets matched up with the St. Louis Rams. The Rams' first game at the Edward Jones Dome since October 21st. Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The kickoff is next. Jets and Rams today here inside the Edward Jones Dome. The Jets coming off a 28-7 loss in Seattle. Their third loss this season of 21 points or more. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and the rest of our CBS crew. The Rams a 24-24 tie in San Francisco last week. The Jets are now 3-9 in their last 12 games. They've dropped 5 of their last 6. Remember, they were 8-5 last year, poised to make another playoff run, but fell apart at the end of the season, and now the spillover here into 2012. Meanwhile, the Rams 2-14 a year ago. Jeff Fisher is hired. He's given big money, and he has delivered. This is a better team, more physical football team. The results have come, although they'd like to see them come a little more quickly at 3-5-1. They did snap a 3-game losing streak last week, just not the way they visualized with that tie against the 49ers. St. Louis won the toss. They have deferred to the second half. So Greg Zuerlein, what a phenomenon he has been this year. Greg the Leg. It's rare that a rookie gets 3 nicknames, let alone a rookie kicker.
Yeah, I kind of like Legatron.
You like Legatron?
Yeah, that's...
See, I like Young Jeezy.
Well, you would.
I would, wouldn't I? Zuerlein kicking it off. Joe McKnight is the deep man. We're underway from St. Louis.
Yeah, Legatron.
Getting it done. And it comes out to the 20-yard line. That's where the Jets will open up. Mark Sanchez. The struggles for Sanchez, they've been well documented, and the numbers back up those struggles.
Now, he believes all the turmoil of the past week will help pull this team together, kind of echoing what Rex Ryan has said. But he knows the Jets have to win today to prove his point. Hasn't lost his confidence. He likes the Jets' chances against the man-to-man pass defense of the Rams on third down situations today.
And to a man meeting with the Jets, everybody said, we're just happy to have a game, happy to play and put all the other stuff to the side. First and 10 from the 20, running play. Sean Green's got a lane, and Green bangs his way for a 10-yard pickup on the first play from scrimmage. Lex Hilliard with a good block. Well, this will be a key matchup. D'Brickashaw Ferguson against Robert Quinn of St. Louis. Jets offensive line, they feel as if they're getting the running game going. Brandon Moore felt as if they're ready to have it pop. Jeremy Curley was a question mark for this game, but Curley is in there. Heel injury, the biggest issue, but Curley also dealing with a hamstring problem. On first and 10 for the Jets. Curley, the motion man, on a 3-receiver set. Sanchez on a toss to Curley. Breaks a tackle. Curley caught after the 4-yard pickup. Kendall Langford making that play for St. Louis. Let's take a look at the defensive line. Robert Quinn really stepping forward in his second year. 8.5 sacks out of North Carolina. The linebackers, Jolon Dunbar, he has been a difference maker. And in the secondary for St. Louis, Janoris Jenkins, suspended last week, benched. He's back in there now. Tim Tebow is in there right now under center, with Sanchez talking to offensive coordinator Tony Sperano. Tebow. And not a whole lot there. He leans in for a gain of 1. Craig Dahl with a stop for the Rams.
Mario Hagan is down and hurt because he tried to make the tackle on Tebow in the backfield. Tebow cut sharply up to the inside. But Hagan still on the ground with an apparent arm injury.
Hagan had just come back from a thigh injury and had a sack and a forced fumble last week, breaking the action. Mario Hagan got up on his own, but he's headed towards the locker room with the medical staff. 3rd and 4 now for the Jets after the injury. Spread formation for Sanchez, who's back in there. Out of the gun, pumps and throws. He connects. Mark Sanchez hits Chaz Schillens for a first down across the 40-yard line. A pickup of 8 through the air.
See Hagan going to the locker room. It appeared it was a right shoulder injury. Here's the pass to Schillens. Schillens knowing exactly what he needed for the first down, and Sanchez putting the ball up high to the 6'4" Schillens.
So a new set of downs for the Jets to work with. Tebow in for one play, one rushing yard. Sheldon Green in the backfield. On a give for Green, trying to turn the corner. And he gets knocked down. Tremaine Johnson, first man there. And he'll get a gain of 2 for the Jets. Well, Mark Sanchez this season, completion percentage lowest in the NFL. 6 games under 50% completion percentage. The turnovers continue to be a huge problem for Sanchez and the Jets offense.
And it's the red zone interceptions that are most puzzling and the ones that hurt the most the Jets so far this season.
And Dan, Antonio Cromartie is in on offense. Cromartie sets up at the top of the screen. On 2nd and 8. Green veering off tackle. Green dishing out some punishment. And they'll move the chains again into St. Louis territory across the 45. He hit Craig Dahl, who couldn't bring him down. 10-yard pickup for Green.
And Cromartie got a pretty good block on the outside on Finnegan. But watch the way that Green finishes the play on Dahl. Knocks Dahl over backwards, picks up an extra 3 yards. And Dahl has to visit the sideline and clear the cobwebs.
7th play of the drive. Green last week had 58 yards on the ground against Seattle. He's got 22 already on this drive. And tack on some more. Green rumbling for 4 to the 40-yard line. Eugene Sims, who is back in there defensively for St. Louis. Sims had been out with a torn MCL that he suffered against Green Bay back on October 21st. He makes the play.
It's a good opening drive for the Jets. You get the feeling, talking to the team yesterday, that they're relieved to play on the road. And especially in an arena such as this, where the crowd is hardly ever a factor. In fact, there are a lot of empty seats here at the Edward Jones Dome.
2nd and 6 now. And a big formation. Wheeling sets up a tight end to the outside. Sanchez fires. Drop ball. Stephen Hill. They had such high hopes for Hill. 2nd-round pick out of Georgia Tech, but he is still very raw coming out of that offense run by Paul Johnson and the Yellow Jackets.
Now, you can't throw the ball any better than this. It hits Hill right in the face mask, makes the catch. He's got a first down, but you can see he just took his eye off the ball, something that he's done a couple of times this year and cost the Jets with the big drops.
Big drop against New England, specifically in a tight ball game that they eventually lost in overtime. 3rd and 6, double tight end set. Keller and Cumberland. Bilal Powell is in there, suffered a concussion last week. Sanchez. And Sanchez is down. Quentin Michael knocking the ball free. Sanchez able to cover up. But the Jets, who showed promise on this drive, has it stalled in St. Louis territory.
Well, they stall with a drop pass. And then watch this play by Michael as he comes around the corner. All the way around. Powell swats at the ball. Lucky for Sanchez, he gets a one-hopper right back to him. So it's not a turnover.
Robert Malone to punt it. Amendola is the deep man for St. Louis. Fair catch called for. Amendola will squeeze it at the 12-yard line, and that's where the Rams will open up after the 34-yard punt. We'll see the St. Louis offense and Sam Bradford when we come back.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Verizon, more 4G LTE coverage than all other networks combined. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Back in St. Louis, gateway to the west, no score. The Jets and the Rams, 10-16 mark of this first quarter. St. Louis opens up in a double tight end set with Kendricks and Mulligan, former Jet. Steven Jackson in the backfield, coming off his best game of the season in the 24-24 tie against San Francisco. Jackson makes a cut. Jackson up the middle. Spun down. Jackson takes it just short of the 25. Harvey Dahl with a good block. Sam Bradford. Bradford 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions last week against the 49ers, one of the best defenses in the NFL. And Brian Schottenheimer, this is a subplot here, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. Schottenheimer, 6 years as the offensive coordinator of the Jets under Mangini and Ryan, and a lot of criticism in New York. during his tenure. Jackson bouncing off a tackler, and he takes it for 5. Take a look at the starting lineups. First for St. Louis. Rob Turner is a former Jet as well. He signed as a free agent. He's filling in for Scott Wells. Wells expected to be back next week for St. Louis. Backs and receivers, Danny Amendola. Last week against San Francisco, 11 catches, 102 yards. He missed 3 games because of the collarbone injury. Had an 80-yard reception first play of overtime, which was negated because of an illegal formation penalty. 2nd and 5 for St. Louis. Steady dose of Jackson taking it into a crowd and picks up 2 yards in the process. Bart Scott among those there defensively for New York. Look at the defense for this Jets team. Muhammad Wilkerson, last week, big play, the forced fumble recovery, 21-yard touchdown for the Jets. Linebacking core for the Jets. Scott is back. He was nursing that toe injury. He missed the Miami game, came back for Seattle last week, and in the secondary, Jeremiah Bell hoping to provide some leadership during these tough times for the Jets. 3rd and 3, dime package here for the Jets defensively. Bradford is yet to put it in the air. Blitz coming. Bradford swings it over to Amendola, makes a man miss, and Amendola's got a first down. Cromartie was over there. It's a 9-yard pickup. Amendola asking for the crowd to get involved. It's a first down for St. Louis.
Well, watch the blitz coming here. Amendola's working on the outside. Totally free rusher in Calvin Pace, but Cromartie just could not stay up with the quick Amendola as he faked to the inside, pivoted back to the outside, and was wide open for the first down.
Before the shoulder injury, Amendola was 2nd in the NFL in receptions. He was putting together a tremendous season for the Rams. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line of St. Louis. No score, 7:37 to go in the first. Play clock is down to 1. Bradford throws on a line. He connects to the 50-yard line. He hits Mike McNeil, just his 4th catch of the season. Amendola, one of the terrific talents in the NFL, and a lot of comparisons, Dan, to Wes Welker. That's our Fouts Focus.
Well, those similarities cannot be ignored in size and in smarts. Watch how Welker reads the blitz here, adjusts his route, and Brady hits him for another completion. Now Amendola will see the zone coverage, find that opening, settle down, make the catch from Bradford. These former Texas Tech Red Raiders are the best in the business and a nightmare for defenses to try to cover.
Amendola said he watched a lot of tape of Welker when he was at Texas Tech and studied his route running. Amendola gets drilled after the catch. It's Jeremiah Bell, and a loss of 3 on the play after the pass from Bradford.
This was going to be a play-action pass and a deep throw down the field to Chris Givens. This is all window dressing here as a fake to Richardson, then the fake to Amendola. Amendola is just an outlet receiver, but the Jets covered Givens deep down the field, and that was Bradford's only outlet. Amendola on the swing, and it lost a couple.
Youngest team in the NFL, the St. Louis Rams, at 3-5-1. They face a 3rd and 4 here out near midfield. Coming up on 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. Deep drop, no pressure. Bradford airs it out. Oh, what a grab! Terrific catch made. Austin Pettis for the Rams. It covers 36 yards on the hookup.
Well, and again, the Jets brought the blitz. Eric Smith on the safety blitz. That allowed single coverage on the outside for Pettis working against Jeremiah Bell. Watch the blitz here. Again, it's Smith. He gets picked up. Bradford has time and a strike down the field. Great effort on the back end of that by Pettis at 6'3", stretching out and making the catch. Beautiful.
And one of those young players, 24 years old, the all-time leader in catches and touchdowns at Boise State.
New York.
And a timeout has been called with 5:32 to play. Jets timeout. No score in the first. For every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. Here in St. Louis, to honor Salute to Service, the Rams offered fans the opportunity to sign holiday cards to our military members abroad. And the team also donated 1,500 tickets to the USO for military members and their families to attend the action here today. First down for St. Louis in the red zone. 5:32 to play in the first quarter. Bradford on a handoff. Jackson right up the middle for 4 yards. Quentin Coples, the rookie out of North Carolina, in on that stop for New York.
And the Rams doing a good job with the battering ram of Steven Jackson, just going straight at the Jets. Jackson so impressive at 6'2", 240, and tremendous desire and drive after contact. Most of his yards come after contact.
Rams have been successful on their first possession of games. This is the 9th play of the drive. They're inside the 15. Bradford looks, throws on an out to Amendola, and he's angled out of bounds, but a first down for St. Louis. Jeremiah Bell drawing the coverage there. That covers 8 yards. And the Rams in business with a 1st and goal to go scenario.
Just a nice little out route, and the coverage coming from all the way on the inside here. Looking for Amendola to work over the middle was Jeremiah Bell. But the difference between Amendola and Welker, perhaps, is the speed of Amendola. They both are very quick, but Amendola a lot faster.
Double tight end set. 1st and goal from the 5. Quick snap. Jackson. Up the gut for Jackson. 3-yard pickup, pace combining with Bouha to bring down Jackson. 2nd and goal coming up.
And the pace of the offense for the Rams on that play, that was brilliant by Bradford to just get up quickly, not have a lot of audibles, not a lot of time at the line of scrimmage. The Jets were just settling down into their stances, and the Rams hit them quickly, got all the way down inside the 2-yard line.
2nd and goal for the Rams, looking to get on the board first. 3 in the backfield. And now a shift. Take the handoff. Bradford looking. Floats one. Incomplete. Brandon Gibson in the area for St. Louis, and the first incompletion by Bradford, who's now 5 of 6. That pressure coming from David Harris.
Well, I just don't like that call. You got Jackson, who's been unstoppable so far. Amendola is the primary receiver on this play, but the Jets know that as well. Look at as they pass him off to Bell. Bell knocks him off his route legally, not 5 yards down the field, but why throw the ball in this situation when you're so close with Jackson to get it in the end zone?
12th play of the drive. 3rd and goal for St. Louis. Jackson in the backfield. Motion man is Kendricks. Bradford, roll out, toss, incomplete. Amendola in a matchup with Ellis Langster. Amendola was looking for the flag, and all he gets is a smile from the line judge.
I guarantee Amendola's not smiling, but Langster is. Good job by Langster as they're in the slot. Here's Amendola, and he's been grabbed as soon as he gets to the goal line. Looks like Langster got away with the grab there, but the Rams deciding now on 4th down. Jeff Fisher going to roll the dice, keep his offense on the field.
Isaiah Peed in there on 4th and goal for St. Louis. A gamble for the Rams, first possession of the day. Bradford looks, throws, wide open. Gibson's got it. Touchdown Rams. A strike from Bradford. St. Louis on the board.
Well, he had all kinds of guys open in the back of the end zone. And it wasn't any play action. There's nobody in the backfield once Peed went out in motion. Mulligan is there for protection, but watch as Bradford looks to the end zone. There's 2 guys, Amendola and Pettis.
Take your pick.
Rather Gibson with the touchdown catch, but Amendola was just as wide open. Unbelievable.
Brandon Gibson, his 3rd touchdown of the season. And a flag down on the extra point from Zuerlein.
False start on the offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. Redo the try.
That's Johnny Hecker, and remember last week when St. Louis had a chance to win the game over San Francisco, Hecker took the blame for a delay of game penalty.
I've never seen this call before. Jerome Boger is saying that Hecker tried to draw the Jets off sides by moving his hands. He was moving his hands to signal, snap the ball to me. That happens all the time on an extra point or a field goal. First time I've ever seen that penalty called on a holder.
Greg Zuerlein What a season he's put together as he knocks it through to give St. Louis a 7-0 lead. 13 plays, 86 yards. Gibson the touchdown from Bradford. St. Louis in front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by KFC. Come in today and taste why fresh is better.
Long drive by the Rams to open things up, and a 7-0 lead for St. Louis with 3:45 remaining in this first quarter. Rams come in 24th in total offense, just 28th in scoring, just under 18 points per game. But Brian Schottenheimer calling the plays for St. Louis, and Rams have got the lead on the Jets with Zuerlein kicking it off to McKnight. McKnight has been nursing an ankle injury. He was inactive last week against Seattle. This is returnable, 5 yards deep. McKnight splits defenders, still on his feet. McKnight veers out of bounds out across the 35-yard line, and that's where the Jets will open up. 42-yard return for McKnight, who does have a 100-yard touchdown this season. To get the latest news and analysis from CBS Sports experts, watch Pro Football 360 live weekdays at 3 Eastern or on demand at cbssports.com/Pro Football 360. So Jets will have it at the 36-yard line, and Mark Sanchez, unfamiliar opponent. This is not a team that they see a whole lot. You asked him about going against this squad. He said it did take a little bit more time to prepare for the personnel, and he's been impressed by this young Rams defense. His team is in a 7-0 hole. Play action. Sanchez steps up. Sanchez goes down. Chris Long with the heat on Mark Sanchez.
6 sacks now on the year for Chris Long. As the Rams, the other thing that impressed Sanchez was the speed of this defense. One of the fastest defensive ends in the game here is Chris Long, as he fights off a weak block by Sean Green. Sean Green's got to stay up high on Long on that pass rush, keep him away from the quarterback.
And Austin Howard is going to have his hands full with Long today. Howard coming into the action and giving up 5 sacks this season. Sanchez on the quick hitter, Clyde Gates out of Abilene Christian. Former Miami Dolphin hauls it in. Janoris Jenkins in coverage, and it's a 10-yard gain for the Jets. It'll be 3rd and short coming up for New York.
And I like that play call by Tony Sperano, a quick 3-step drop, getting the ball out of the hands of his quarterback. Sanchez been sacked in the last 2 pass attempts.
So a 3rd and 3. Tony Sperano starting to come under fire for the way this offense has struggled. They are 30th in total offense, 24th in scoring, 19.4 points per game. 3rd and 3. Sanchez a touch pass over the shoulder grab. It's McKnight. Joe McKnight has got a first down as James Laurinaitis was there defensively, and McKnight was able to separate from the linebacker.
This is McKnight's first reception of the season. Here's Laurinaitis. Here's McKnight. Watch as he swings out of the backfield, and as you called it, Ian, perfectly, this is a touch pass by Sanchez that just falls right into the arms of McKnight. But what a spark McKnight can give this team. Saw that 42-yard kickoff return to give him good field position. Now an 18-yard reception.
Extra offensive lineman Jason Smith, the former Ram who was traded for Wayne Hunter, is in there. Inside, a 4-yard run to Green. Laurinaitis with a hit. We head to New York. NFL Today update. JB, Coach Cowher.
Iron Skins on the board first.
The RG3 to Darrell Young from 6 yards out. And Nick Foles, starting for Michael Vick, has already thrown 2 interceptions in this game. Washington 7, Philly nothing.
Iron and Dan.
All right, guys, thanks very much. RG3 and the Redskins at 3-6. Last place in the NFC East. Nothing there for Sean Green. A gain of a yard on forward progress. And just about everybody involved defensively for St. Louis to bring down Green. Chris Long and the St. Louis defense, when scouting Green, said that he reminded them of Frank Gore in his running style. Obviously, Gore now has been a proven back, and Green is trying to get to that level in the NFL.
And the biggest problem probably for Green is the fact that he's had trouble staying healthy. And Jets need him, obviously, with injuries to Bilal Powell and Joe McKnight, although both of those two running backs have already been in the game, and McKnight has contributed on this drive.
They did pick up an extra running back, Khalil Bell, this week, the former Chicago Bear. This is a 3rd and 5 now for New York, trailing the Rams 7-0, under a minute to go in the first. Powell is in there. Shotgun for Sanchez. Protection hold. Sanchez throws. Incomplete. Looking to hit Gates. Jenkins jumping in front. And now what do you do if you're the Jets?
Well, it appears they're going to bring out their field goal team. Let Nick Folk try a long 51-yard field goal. But a great play here by number 21, Janoris Jenkins. Ball thrown just a little bit late on target, but the reaction by Jenkins, who did not play last week because of violation of team rules, gets out of the doghouse in a hurry with that type of play.
Nick Folk on long this season, 54. This from 51 yards away. Folk. He's got it. 7-3 St. Louis. Jets able to generate some points in this first quarter. 44 seconds remaining. Rams will get the football back when we return. St. Louis with a 7-3 lead on New York. Seven-play, 30-yard drive. Big key there was the McKnight return on the kickoff. And now it's Folk kicking it off to Chris Gibbons. 2 yards deep in the end zone. Gibbons, rookie out of Wake Forest. Zigzags. And brought down short of the 20-yard line by Chaz Schillings. Tuesday on CBS, see why America has made Vegas TV's #1 news show this season. That's Tuesday, only CBS.
That was such an impressive opening drive for Bradford and the Rams. Bradford was 6 of 8 on the drive with that 60 yards. A big play to Pettis for 36, and of course a touchdown to Gibson.
You know, we asked Bradford about working with Schottenheimer. He said Kellen Clemens, backup quarterback who was in New York with Schottenheimer as a backup QB, has been a big help in easing that transition. On a handoff for Steven Jackson, he picks up 3 yards. Ellis and Wilkerson bring him down.
And Steven Jackson's off to a good start as well. 6 carries for 29 yards for the Rams. We got a Jet that's down with an injury. As we look at these highlights, the touchdown pass, I can't believe that Amendola was so wide open, as was Gibson in the back of the end zone.
It's Kenrick Ellis down. Ellis has been inactive for 4 games this season with a knee injury. They help him to his feet, and Ellis is going to limp off here. 21 seconds to go in this opening quarter. Rotation defensive tackle for the Jets. And Rex Ryan believes that that's been a big part of the problem against the run, not having Ellis as part of that group. Boua has not been healthy as well throughout the season. He's been inactive for 4 games this season with a back injury.
And when you see Ellis walking off the side of to the sideline, you see the big heavy brace on his left leg. That's the leg he's limping on.
That's the final play of this opening quarter, with the Rams in front of the Jets 7-3. Back to St. Louis after this, the NFL on CBS. Jets suffering through a 3-game losing streak. They have not lost 4 in a row since the 2007 season, when they lost 6 straight. Tony Sparano, offensive coordinator, in between Sanchez and Tebow. Meanwhile, the Rams at 3-5-1, but they have not lost a game within the NFC West. That tie last week against the 49ers. Play action, Bradford in trouble, but he gets rid of it. Kendricks bounces off a tackle and able to break to the outside. A penalty marker is thrown, though, back at the 19-yard line. Kendricks, much improved player at that tight end spot. 17-yard pickup. Let's see if it's negated by this call from Jerome Boger.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 16. He was turning upfield at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
St. Louis is tied for 2nd in the NFL in penalties. Washington leads the league in that dubious category.
You know, even more concerning than the penalty on Amendola there is the free run at the quarterback Calvin Pace had. He hit Bradford just as Bradford letting go of the ball, but that's twice in this first half that pace has been unblocked by the Rams offense.
So now a 2nd and 12 for St. Louis, back to the 15-yard line. Jackson in the backfield. Amendola, the motion man, faked the handoff, throw it underneath. Amendola caught down low, couldn't break free of LaRon Landry. 2-yard gain as we head back to New York. NFL Today update. JB and Coach Cowher.
Cleveland out on the Cowboys.
Yeah, Brandon Whedon to Ben Watson, the ex-Patriot, 10 yards out, and Cleveland jumps ahead of Dallas 7-0.
Back to Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
Every time you think Dallas is showing signs of life, they put themselves in tough situations. Cleveland at 2-7. Bradford, look at the time. It's intercepted, picked off by Eric Smith. And Smith is wrestled out of bounds. Mike McNeil, the intended receiver. And it's Smith coming up with a big play on the INT.
Now, Bradford had a lot of time to throw, but the Jets just rushing 3 men at him that time. They dropped back and they had everybody covered. Smith had to go a long way for this, but he saw the outlet. Bradford throwing late to the outside. First interception of the year for Eric Smith, and exactly what this Jets team needs. A big play by the defense. Now for the offense, they've got to capitalize, get in the end zone with a touchdown.
7-year veteran comes up with a pick, and Cromartie is in on offense once again for the Jets. On first down, line of scrimmage is the 13-yard line. Handoff, Green busting it to the outside, and he's ridden down. Laurinaitis among those there for the Rams, limiting Green to a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, Laurinaitis jumped on his back as Janoris Jenkins went real low, and you've got to go low on Sean Green. We've already seen him punish Craig Dahl in the first drive of the game, but not much on that first down play for the Jets with the run to Green.
Now let's see if Cromartie's just a decoy or if he can play a legitimate role here on offense. Set up on the outside. Sanchez looks, steps up. Sanchez is sacked again. It's Chris Long. 3rd sack of the day for this St. Louis defense.
And the 2nd sack for Chris Long here in the first half. Long in his sprinter stance here. Watch him go right by Austin Howard here. Pushes him to the outside, dips inside, and there's Sanchez trying to escape the pocket.
Long telling us that Jeff Fisher has changed the whole attitude of this team, especially defensively. Sanchez on a dart. Cumberland the curl up the field, and Cumberland will be brought down inside the 10-yard line. A 7-yard pickup. And now what do you do if you're Rex Ryan and company? Looks like they're sending the field goal unit on.
Well, with the protection problems that the Jets have right now, Sanchez doesn't have a chance to go back in the pocket and survey the field and look into the end zone. He had to get rid of that ball quickly to avoid another sack, and obviously way short of the first down. This is a win for the Rams defense. If they come away just giving up 3 points, they'll still have the lead.
Nick Folk on to attempt a 26-yard field goal. The punter, Robert Malone, will hold it. Tanner Purdom is the snapper for the Jets. Jets trying to cut into the St. Louis lead. 26 yards. It's blocked. Janoris Jenkins busting through. The Jets come up empty. Rams maintain their 7-3 lead in the second quarter. Talented rookie out of North Alabama, Janoris Jenkins, blocking the field goal attempt of Nick Folk. And St. Louis has a 7-3 lead over the Jets. Rams have it 1st and 10 at their own 13-yard line. 11:48 to go in this first half. Right up the middle, it's Darrell Richardson. Richardson brings that element of speed, and he turns it into a 10-yard gain.
Well, check out the Brickshaw Ferguson here. His responsibility is to take care of this man. Then with his offhand, he's got to find a way to slow down Jenkins. Too concerned with Dahl on the inside. Jenkins has a free run at the field goal attempt, and it's the 2nd time this season that Nick Folk has had a field goal blocked.
And it's an additional headache for special teams coach Mike Weston. Richardson the spin. Daryl Richardson, another product of Abilene Christian. We talked about Clyde Gates earlier. That's a 5-yard gain for Richardson. The miscues this year, they keep adding up. Robert Malone, pump blocked by Miami's Jimmy Wilson, recovered by Olivier Vernon, a touchdown. Stephen Hill, the drop, critical fourth quarter against the Patriots. Sanchez, sack and fumble in overtime to end that game. Defense has had trouble, couldn't bring down Marshawn Lynch last week. He had 124 yards on the ground, and you could tack on this one for the Jets. Richardson remains in there on a 2nd and 5. Richardson, spin move, and he is wrapped up by Wilkerson at the 30-yard line. A 2-yard gain for the 7th-round draft pick, Division II product, Daryl Richardson.
And in talking to Steven Jackson about the youngster, he says he wants to learn. It's challenging to know when you're handing over the reins to a younger player, but Richardson's been very gracious about it. But Fisher says this will keep Jackson more fresh later in the season. You're already seeing dividends of it on this drive here with the quickness of Richardson being a big difference.
Yeah, there is going to be a changing of the guard at the running back spot. Steven Jackson has been here 9 years. He's been the face of the organization through some good times and bad. Bradford on 3rd and 4. Good pass on the level. Cromartie with the smack. Ball was knocked around. It's ruled incomplete as Austin Pettis could not secure it for St. Louis. Major shot from Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah, Cromartie saw this coming all the way. Amendola really took a shot here. So it's going to be Pettis right there. Incomplete is the ruling. It would have been ram ball anyway because it went out of bounds with neither team possessing it.
Legal hit?
Yeah, he threw his shoulder into him right on the ball. Great play by Cromartie.
Johnny Hecker, the punt. Kyle Wilson is the return man. He's got some room to work with. From the 15, Wilson along the sideline and forced out of bounds just short of the 35-yard line. 55-yard punt, a 19-yard return, and a 7-3 advantage for St. Louis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And by State Farm. Get to a better state with a discount double check.
Thanksgiving just around the corner. You think they sense it?
They should.
Joe McKnight getting to the outside across the 40-yard line. And that's an 8-yard gain. McKnight, change of pace, excellent speed.
A rough first half for Mark Sanchez in the pass protection. Michael gets that sack. Chris Long goes around Sean Green. This time Chris Long goes inside Austin Howard. Sanchez 5 of 7 for 48 yards. He has dealt the ball to 5 different receivers.
2nd and 2. McKnight stays in there. McKnight's got a first down. Out to midfield, Joe McKnight. A burst for 8. Good block up front by the veteran Brandon Moore.
This is exactly what the Jets need, is contribution from McKnight to go along with Sean Green. Here comes Tim Tebow now. This is interesting. After the ball gets all the way out to midfield, change the quarterback. And now there's confusion in the huddle as to who should be there. Play clock now running down. And they still haven't broken the huddle with 10 seconds to go.
And more offensive plays for Antonio Cromartie. Let's see what Tony Sparano has drawn up here on a 1st and 10 with Tebow under center. Play clock down to 2. It'll be a give for Curley and nothing there. William Hayes read it and a loss of 1 on the play. You know, sometimes you don't know if Tim Tebow is just the highest paid offensive decoy in the NFL.
Well, that was a read option type of play where he has the option to give the ball to Curley or keep it. He gave the ball to Curley when perhaps he should have kept it. There was nobody on the outside. If he keeps it, he may have gone for a big gain.
The whole play felt like it was in slow motion for the Jets. Took a while to develop on 2nd and 11. That's a deep drop. Sanchez will check it down. Almost picked off. It bounced off Joe McKnight. And Quentin Michael was there. Would have had a touchdown the other way with not a Jet near him.
what I don't understand is why put in Sanchez at that point. The Jets have got momentum on the ground. They've got McKnight operating behind the offensive line all the way out to midfield. It's like you almost break your own momentum by putting in Tebow at that time. And now you get a bad play with Tebow in there, then an incomplete pass.
3rd and 11 now for the Jets. Dustin Keller yet to play a role here. There's the punt and throw, and it is to Keller. Keller trying to fight for extra yardage, and he moved backwards to the 45.
He was about a half a yard shy of the first down marker when he broke the tackle and tried to get more. But his real error is not going far enough to have the first down with the catch itself. Right there, he's a yard short. Now he's 3 or 4 yards short.
Keller coming off his worst game as a pro last week in terms of mistakes. Had 2 penalties, costly ones, a drop pass, 3 catches, 47 yards against Seattle. And a fake. Tebow on a shovel. Rams were ready. St. Louis prepared for Lex Hilliard. And the Jets turn it over on downs. James Laurinaitis blew the play up.
Well, here's Laurinaitis right here. The Rams have their defense on the field. Tebow has been having success in this position, but not that time.
Dan, the word we've kept hearing the last couple of days about the Jets, desperate. They're desperate for a win. Jeff Fisher said they're a desperate team. Desperate teams do desperate things. On a fake punt, unable to convert, St. Louis takes over, and there is Jackson. Steven Jackson, they can't bring him down. Jackson spins his way to the 33. Cromartie was trying to ride him down, but it turns into a 21-yard gain for Jackson.
Well, Cromartie's going to get run over by Jackson. Great vision to see it on the backside. Now Cromartie comes up right there, tries to hit Jackson in the thigh pads, and there's 9 extra yards for Steven Jackson.
St. Louis now a 1st and 10 at the 33. Jackson with 50 yards on the ground. Kendricks the motion man for the Rams. Coming up on 6 minutes to go in this first half. A 7-3 lead for St. Louis. Jackson makes a cut, and the 3-time Pro Bowler is brought down by Wilkerson. A gain of 1.5 yards on the play.
Well, you talked about desperate times. This is a back to the fake punt. This is an error on Tim Tebow. This is Chris Long. Here is Dunbar. Here's Laurinaitis. These are the normal defensive players for the Rams. This isn't the punt return team. Tebow has got to recognize that. Get out of this fake. Just snap the ball to the punter and let the punter kick the ball. You cannot run a fake play against a normal defense in this league.
4th fake punt of the season for the Jets. They had converted on the previous 3. 2nd and 8 now for St. Louis. Jackson remains in there. Fake the handoff. Bradford, he's hit, and the ball is free. Scooped up. Bart Scott's got it. Now it's a foot race, and Scott is brought down from behind inside the 30. Matthew Mulligan chased him down. Muhammad Wilkerson again knocking the ball loose like he did a week ago against Seattle.
And the question is, was Bradford's arm coming forward? And it looked like it was perfect timing by Wilkerson as he got his hand on the ball before Bradford could bring his arm forward. Watch Wilkerson right here. He's going to go by Barksdale there. Check it, that's Shelley Smith, and he perfect timing as he's spiking the ball out of Bradford's hand. Bart Scott with the pickup and a great effort to run him down for the Rams by Mulligan.
The long arms of Muhammad Wilkerson in his 2nd year, the number 30 pick overall in 2011. Also played basketball at Linden High School in New Jersey, so he knows a little bit about blocking shots back in the day. And Bart Scott on the scoop, taking it to the 28-yard line of St. Louis.
They did review this, and they saw exactly what we saw. It was a good play. Perfect timing by Wilkerson.
6 offensive linemen. Jason Smith is in, the number 2 pick of St. Louis back in 2009 out of Baylor. Handoff. Green trying to move the pile. Green forward progress to the 25-yard line for a 3-yard pickup.
Whatever happened to, after a turnover, going for the killer? You know, going for the touchdown, throwing the ball into the end zone, putting the defense, who's already a little bit depressed because they had to come back out on the field after the offense turned the ball over. You run a dive play for 3 plays, all that does is help the defense.
Just seeing your facial expression, I have a sense that Don Coryell had a few of those in the playbook.
Yeah, almost every time.
2nd and 7. Pump. Sanchez. There's
There
the
we
deep
go.
ball. Wide open. Chaz Schillens. Touchdown, Jets. Throwing at Tremaine Johnson. And the Jets deliver on a 25-yard strike from Sanchez.
Yeah, great pump fake by Sanchez. Good route on the outside by Schillens. Watch the fake by Sanchez. This time he gets time to throw. Just a little double move by Schillens. He gets behind Tremaine Johnson, the rookie out of Montana.
Chaz Schillens, his 2nd touchdown of the season. Sanchez, that's number 11, and the Jets go in front. 4:31 to play in this first half. 2 plays, 28 yards after the Wilkerson forced fumble and Bart Scott recovery. Extra point from Nick Folk. Jets grab a 10-7 lead on the Rams. Mark Sanchez, not a whole lot to celebrate in recent weeks. They'll take that one to Schillens.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website is easy. And by Windows 8.
For the Jets' first offensive touchdown in 10 quarters. It's Sanchez to Schillens, the former Oakland Raider. 10-7 lead for the Jets. 4:31 to play in this first half. Nick Folk will kick it off. Chris Givens is deep. Givens, the 4th-round pick, speedy. And he'll take this one out. Givens angles out of bounds just short of the 20-yard line.
I'll give Tony Sparano a little bit of love designing this play and calling it. Watch, this is going to be a fake quick screen out here to Curley. Both defensive backs come up and they leave Schillens down the sideline for the touchdown. Perfectly executed. Sanchez with time to throw, and Schillens with a good adjustment on this ball to get in the end zone.
So a 3-point lead for the Jets. Under 4 to go in the 2nd quarter. Bradford will work out of the gun. First time that he has fumbled the football this season. Bradford on time to Kendricks. Tight end brings it in for a 7-yard pickup out across the 25-yard line. Safety LaRon Landry brings him down. Tomorrow, small town boys meet 2 broke girls. Catch an all-new episode tomorrow only CBS. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Rams have not forced a turnover in 4 straight games. That's 1 shy of the NFL record set by the Indianapolis Colts last year and the 06 Washington Redskins. Jackson runs into a crowd, and there's nothing there for Steven Jackson. Quentin Coples, first man to greet him. A loss of 1 on the play. Jackson and Coples exchange some words.
You get back to that stat about the Rams defensively. They forced 6 fumbles this year. They've only been able to recover 1. This is the 10th game of the season. Those things come in bunches. Sometimes they don't come at all.
Rams are 1-11 in their last 12 home games against the AFC. 3-19 overall against the AFC over the last 6 years. 3rd and 4th. Those are not very good Rams teams. Bradford hits it and throws, and a flutter ball as David Harris delivered the pressure on Bradford. Incomplete. This time it's Wilkerson getting into it with Harvey Dahl, the offensive lineman, and Amendola is now limping off for St. Louis.
Yeah, he's seriously limping off too. Couldn't put any weight on that. Here is the blitz in there. Number 55 going inside is Sapp, but Harris powers his way right through Bradford. Bradford lucky that ball wasn't picked off.
Johnny Hecker to punt it. Kyle Wilson, the return man. Hecker didn't get all of this one. In fact, it's going to bounce and roll towards the sideline. Makes its way out of bounds right around the 35-yard line. A 41-yard punt. Did take a St. Louis roll. They're checking on Danny Amendola, who has dealt with a lot of injuries. Amendola missed 15 games last year with an elbow injury. The collarbone injury earlier this season. And Amendola just tripping on his own on that previous play. Help the victims of disasters like Hurricane Sandy. Text Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. CBS cares. They are checking out the right foot of Danny Amendola. Jason Smith once again is in as an extra offensive lineman, and a flag comes down. This play never gets off.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And it is Smith called on the penalty. First one against the Jets here today.
Now let's go back to the injury to Amendola. They're checking out his right foot. You can see kind of dragging it there. And as soon as he goes down, he clutches for his heel. Makes you wonder about an Achilles tendon, sprained ankle. But he was in real pain trying to get off the field.
Joe McKnight in the backfield with Lex Hilliard. We've got 2:52 to go in this first half. A 3-point lead for the Jets. Sanchez on a draw. McKnight trying to take it to the outside and cannot. Just couldn't get to the edge against Rocky McIntosh. It'll be a loss of 1 on the play.
That's a real good play by McIntosh. Great speed as an outside linebacker. McKnight looked like he might be able to get to the corner, but McIntosh was there and rode him out of bounds for a loss of 1.
Still working on the right foot of Amendola. McKnight to the sideline. Bilal Powell is in for New York. It's a 2nd and 16 for the Jets. Sanchez pumps once, now throws deep. He's got Curley into St. Louis territory. Curley is knocked down just inside the 40. That's a 32-yard pass play. Once again picking on Tremaine Johnson, the rookie out of Montana.
And Sanchez looking to the left, trying to move the safety. Look at the pump fake there. He knows he's got Curley down the seam. Perfect throw by Sanchez before Johnson can get over there.
We've hit the 2-minute warning here in St. Louis. Mark Sanchez making all the throws today in this first half. Sam Bradford has had problems. Sanchez another punt. Sanchez dials up a deep ball. Incomplete. It looks like both the offensive player Stephen Hill and the defensive player Janoris Jenkins lost the ball at some point.
They certainly didn't see it. That ball could have been anybody's. Sanchez is going to absorb a big hit as he lets this one go. And neither, as you said, Ian, watch the end of the play. Both these guys have no idea where the ball is. Hello.
Danny Amendola is now walking off to the St. Louis locker room. A 2nd and 10 with a minute 54 to play in this first half. Running play. Powell right into the line for no gain. Robert Quinn will get credit for the stop. Jets still have 2 timeouts to work with. St. Louis has 3. And now a 3rd and 10 for New York. Tony Sparano, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins from 2008 to 2011, calling the plays for the Jets. It has been a rough offensive season. 30th in total offense. 3rd and 10 for New York. Rush coming. Sanchez looks. Checks down over the middle. Powell short of a first down. Needed to get just across the 31. Did not. And now they're looking at a 51-yard field goal attempt. Rex Ryan and Sparano having a conversation. St. Louis should have called timeouts.
Now they have.
1:02 left. We'll come right back. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report, JB and company, the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. They send Nick Folk on the field for a 51-yard attempt. The 26-yard attempt was blocked. This one's 51 yards away. Folk. And he nails it to extend the Jets' lead 13-7. 57 seconds to play in the second quarter.
Words cannot express our gratitude and appreciation for the military members who put their lives on the line.
Yeah, D'Brickashaw Ferguson does a good job on Janoris Jenkins on this one. Watch the difference here as Jenkins coming off the corner. He just gets enough with that left hand to keep Jenkins from having a free run at the field goal.
Now the Jets, who have been held to less than 10 points in 3 games this season. Tony Sperano knows all about the numbers. They now have 13 with under a minute to go in this first half. A 6-play, 33-yard drive. Folk converts on the 51-yard field goal. Jets have 155 yards of offense. They've been held to under 200 yards of offense twice, including last week against Seattle. 185 total yards, 72 in the second half. Folk will kick it off. Chris Gibbons is deep, standing 5 yards deep in the end zone. Gibbons moves forward, catches it to 3. Gibbons, a little juke move, and Gibbons now taking it to the outside. Gibbons looking for the angle. Flag is down as Gibbons goes the distance. Flag thrown back at the 24-yard line of the Rams.
And that's never a good sign. And this penalty may have happened.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 23, 10-yard penalty. St. Louis keeps the ball, first down.
Rodney McLeod, a rookie out of Virginia, called for the penalty.
Yeah, it's a good call, too. Gibbons trying to get to the outside, and McLeod reached out. Right here is McLeod, number 23. Watch his left arm here. That keeps the both hands actually got a pretty good grip on the shoulder there of Chaz Schillens. And a spectacular return by that man is negated.
So St. Louis has it at its own 14-yard line with 43 seconds to work with in the second quarter. They trail the Jets 13-7. Richardson is in there. Bradford to throw, and almost picked off the knockaway by Lankster. Ellis Lankster, more playing time because of the injury to Isaiah Trufant. Injured left knee last week. He was placed on IR this week.
And Lankster should have caught this ball. He had a better shot at it than the receiver did, Brian Quick. And if Lankster catches it, it's 6 for the Jets. Bradford really late getting that ball outside to his receiver on the hook route.
Bradford is now 8 of 13, 69 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and a fumble. 39 seconds left from the gun. Bradford, he hits Quick, and Quick is tackled out across the 20-yard line after the 9-yard gain. Kyle Wilson with the stop for the Jets. 30 seconds left and a timeout called by St. Louis. So Brian Schottenheimer and the offense will face a 3rd and 1 coming up. Also coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the rest of the gang, latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. So the penalty on McLeod nullifies the long kickoff return for a touchdown by Gibbons. And now St. Louis a 3rd and 1 with 30 seconds to play in this first half.
And this is a huge 3rd and 1 for the Rams. Jets have got a hot hand right now. They've got some momentum, and if they're forced to, Rams are forced to punt, Jets will have 2 timeouts to work with little time left.
3rd and 1, Richardson behind Bradford. 4-man front. Bradford looking to throw. Steps up. Bradford, low throw. It's incomplete. The attempt by Austin Pettis to haul it in, and the Rams will punt with Johnny Hekker.
Boy, if he could have got this ball up, Pettis might still be running. Bradford under pressure stepped up into the calm middle of the pocket, but wasn't able to deliver a ball on target, and the Jets will get good field position and still have 2 timeouts to work with.
Remember last week, Hekker, 2 fake punts, 2 completions. He's not faking anything here. A punt to Kyle Wilson. Wilson, fair catch called for, just short of the 29-yard line. So a 49-yard punt by Hekker, the rookie. Home Depot SEC on CBS. 2 great rivalry games this week. First, Friday, 2:30 Eastern, LSU tangles with Arkansas. Then Saturday, the Iron Bowl. Auburn takes on Alabama. Saturday, it all begins with college football today, live at 3 Eastern here on CBS. Frustrating day so far for Sam Bradford.
And he had such a good start to the game. He had 6 of his first 8.
And Jets will take a knee and head to the locker room with a 13-7 lead over St. Louis. Jets are trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Rams hear boos from their fans at the Edward Jones Dome. Verizon Halftime Report will be coming up after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Well, in that first half, special teams issues continue to plague the Jets. A blocked field goal attempt. Fake punt. Tebow unable to convert, but the Jets defense creating some opportunities. Interception, forced fumble, the recovery, and then Sanchez turns it into 7 on the long pass to Schillens. And just as the Rams came out of the locker room, Jeff Fisher huddled the entire team together to get them motivated for this second half. 13-7, the Jets in front of the Rams. Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Jets have shown some signs on offensive life. Meanwhile, it's the Rams that have looked very flat here at home.
Well, they started so well. They went right down the field, did the Rams. Steven Jackson was effective.
Yep.
Sam Bradford did a good job. But it was their mistakes in that first half, not protecting Bradford, and then being able to not stop Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez had a very good first half. But the Jets have got to take more advantage of the turnovers. They only get 7 points. That 1 blocked field goal against special teams. But you talk about special teams, the biggest error in the first half was against the Rams when the long kickoff return by Gibbons was negated by a holding penalty on McLeod.
So Sam Bradford in that first half, 9 of 16, 78 yards, a touchdown and an interception. We've seen Tebow a couple of times, but oftentimes it just feels like it affects the flow and the rhythm of the offense. Nick Folk will kick it off. Chris Gibbons is deep. And we know what Gibbons is capable of. 2 yards deep in the end zone. Gibbons takes it out. Gibbons slowed down. He tried to curl around, but gets chopped down at the 14-yard line by Josh Bush on special teams. St. Louis got off to a terrific start. Bradford was very sharp on that opening drive. They went 13 plays, 86 yards, got the touchdown to Brandon Gibson. Since that point, next 5 drives, 16 combined plays for just 57 yards. Amendola is out there, right foot trouble at the end of the second quarter. On a 1st and 10 from the 14. Amendola, the motion man. Jets have been able to get some pressure on Bradford today. That's a deep drop. Bradford steps and fires underneath and able to complete to Steven Jackson, who is brought down by David Harris, a 2-yard pickup.
Yeah, and Bradford stepping up into the pocket at just the right time. So it looked like Wilkerson was drawing a bead on him. But again, good defense by the Jets, dropping into zone there and not giving Bradford anything deep down the field. He's got such a strong arm, so accurate. He can hit any part of this field, as we saw in the first half. 33
new players on this roster from last year's team. Huge overhaul by Jeff Fisher and Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams. Up the middle, there's Jackson. Takes the contact and then keeps on going for 7.
Now Jackson is so used to being the main feature of this offense. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the ball repeatedly here in the second half, because he looks fresh to me at this point of the season. And I think having Richardson as his backup running back, you should see a little bit more of that combination as well, because it's such a good changeup for this Ram offense.
And that's probably been the biggest adjustment for Jackson, the fact that he has been such a workhorse throughout his career. 25, 28 carries a game. 3rd and 1. Bradford from the gun. Quick hitter. Complete to Amendola. First down. As he got hit by Harris after the catch. Moved the chains, a 9-yard pickup.
That was such a great job by Bradford, because did you see Langster fake the blitz? Well, he does come. Number 26 comes later. And Bradford saw that initially and just patiently waited for Amendola to read it as well and pick up the first down.
Amendola, Dallas practice squad, Philadelphia practice squad, finally was able to stick with the St. Louis Rams, now in his 3rd year in the NFL. On first down, Jackson stretching it to the outside. Rob Turner, the former Jet, pulled and created some extra space for Steven Jackson. That's a 7-yard pickup. The influence of Amendola, the games that he has played, they're 3-2-1. They've averaged 20 points per game. Without him, they're yet to register a win.
It'll be interesting to see how badly he got hurt in that first half when he had to limp off the field with what appeared to be a right foot injury. He appears to be running around without any pain now here in the second half.
2nd and 3. It is Richardson in there. And Richardson gets the call. Stutter step. They bring him down quickly, just across the 40-yard line. Demario Davis combining with Muhammad Wilkerson to limit him to a gain of 1.5 yards.
This is what happened to Amendola, just running in the opening here. Reached down, grabbed his right heel. He was treated on the sidelines and then treated in the locker room at halftime. And has already caught a pass on this opening drive.
So now a 3rd and 1. Empty backfield for Bradford here. Shotgun formation. Bradford flushed out. Bradford too far. Trying to lead Amendola on a 3rd and 1. They went for the big play down the field and unable to convert. 4th down, St. Louis.
Yeah, this is a puzzling call on 3rd and 1. You would expect Amendola to run some type of option route. He takes it down the field deep, and Bradford, feeling the pressure the last couple of times in the pocket, was phantom pressure that time. He rolled out when he really didn't need to, and that caused that ball to be off the target.
We mentioned earlier, St. Louis is comfortable faking it. Johnny Hector is going to punt it. Kyle Wilson waiting for it. Wilson lost the ball that was hemmed up against the sideline, and Wilson was able to make sure that either he was going to be out of bounds or knock the ball out of bounds after the 49-yard punt. The muff by Wilson, but no harm done. Jets will have the ball when we come back. Jeff Fisher hoping that his defense can make something happen here. The Rams trail 13-7. First possession of the second half for the Jets. It's Sean Green. Green was able to kick it into another gear and take it to the 25 for a 14-yard rip. Good block from Brandon Moore on that right side for New York.
Brandon Moore and Austin Howard, watch the kick-out block there. This is a huge hole as the linebackers go up inside, creating that hole. And Laurinaitis has to dive to make a tackle. Good way to start after being backed up.
Injury update, Mario Hagan will not return because of the right elbow injury he suffered early in this game for St. Louis. Green, not much there as he falls forward across the 25 for 1. Michael Brockers, the rookie out of LSU, in on that hit for St. Louis. First half possessions for the Jets.
Well, they started off poorly with that blocked field goal really hurt him because they got the interception from Eric Smith that gave him great field position. But then a couple of good drives there at the end. Again, the key has been the field position for the Jets in that second quarter.
2nd and 9 now for New York. Coming up on 10 minutes to go in the third. Sanchez on the out route. He connects. Chaz Schillens has played a larger role than usual on offense here today. It's a 6-yard pickup working against the rookie Janoris Jenkins.
Sanchez hasn't really been able to locate his tight end, Dustin Keller, very often. I think he only has one catch on the afternoon. But as you said, Schillens working on the outside has been effective.
3rd and 3 now for the Jets. Crowd trying to get involved. It's been a bit of an antiseptic atmosphere here at the Edward Jones Dome. Moving pocket. Sanchez plants. He throws. Good throw. It's Curley on the reception and the conversion. First down, 6 yards. Cortland Finnegan with the tackle on Curley.
That's a fine play design by Sperano, moving Sanchez because he'd been sacked 3 times in that first half. So we're going to move the pocket, get away from pressure, and look at Curley reach out under pressure there by Finnegan. But Curley running out of the slot formation picks up that first down.
Tony Sperano has seen his quarterback go 11 of 15 for 130 yards, a touchdown, and no major mistakes. Back to the ground game. Green, patient, and then shot through that hole for a 4-yard pickup. Rocky McIntosh with the tackle.
Well, and you normally see now with the Jets them bringing in Tim Tebow after they get a little bit of momentum going, but I think this is good, just keeping him on the sidelines. You talked about the effectiveness of Sanchez here in this ball game. He's dealt the ball out to 7 different receivers. He looks very confident in the pocket when he gets time to throw. So let's not mess with a good thing.
2nd and 6 now. Fake the running play. Sanchez has time. Pats the ball. Throws too high and a flag down. Stephen Hill and a crowd of St. Louis defenders.
They're going to get Hill for pushing off on Finnegan.
Yeah, it looked like that ball was uncatchable either way. And it was Hill trying to create an opportunity for himself.
Pass interference. Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
All right, this is a real iffy call on Stephen Hill. Watch Hill come down. Watch with the right arm. He's just going to shove Finnegan just a touch, but that's enough to get the call. Ball overthrown by Sanchez. Uncatchable, but still the flag goes against Hill.
Hill missed 2 days of practice this week with an illness, and he's now put the Jets in a 2nd and 16 situation. Sanchez just didn't have enough on that ball, looking for Schillens. Not that Schillens had room to work. And now it's 3rd and 16.
Yeah, if Schillens catches this ball, he gains a yard, maybe. But 3rd downs have not bothered Mark Sanchez this afternoon. Picking up 3 first downs. This one will be very difficult, though. A long way to go for the Jets on 3rd and 16.
Powell in the backfield. 3rd and 16. They give it to Powell up the middle. And the conservative play call picks up 10, but a punt coming for the New York Jets. Cortland Finnegan in on the stop for St. Louis.
Yeah, the Jets feel good about their defense, the way they've been playing. So this decision, more of a field position type of call here. Punt the Rams back in their own end of the field here and play defense.
Robert Malone, Danny Amendola waiting for it. Big punt, and it's going to bounce into the end zone. It hit down at the 1 and then ricochet directly to the back of the end zone. 58-yard punt, but a net of just 38. Rams will have it at the 20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Inside Old Union Station here in St. Louis, the Rams trailing the Jets 13-7. Rams have 169 yards of offense, but they've not turned it into point production. 7:42 to go in the 3rd. Ball at the 20-yard line. Rush is coming. Good block there. And Bradford trying to get rid of it, and he does. LaRon Landry supplied the initial pressure And Steven Jackson was able to block him, so Bradford didn't absorb the sack.
Well, the timing by Landry is just perfect. He timed that snap. He gets taken out by Steven Jackson, but Bradford knew he was coming, so he gets out of the pocket and is fortunate to get rid of that ball before a huge loss. But Landry's timing on that blitz was absolutely spot on.
Second wave came from Brian Thomas, and Bradford was forced to get rid of it. 2nd and 10 now for the Rams. Running play, Jackson runs into his own man and goes down. Jackson hit Barry Richardson, who was trying to block for him, and it's a loss of 4 on the play.
That's because Muhammad Wilkerson blew up Barry Richardson. Richardson goes 319. Watch this right in here. Watch Wilkerson, 96, just pushed Richardson right back, and Steven Jackson is in big trouble. Great play. Another big play by Wilkerson.
Started all 16 games as a rookie, and now starting to come on and live up to that first-round draft pick status out of Temple. 3rd and 14. Play clock is down to 2, and the Jets jumped. Ellis Lankster was looking for an advantage along the right side of the defense for New York.
Encroachment. Defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Yeah, he's trying to slow down Danny Amendola, which is not a bad idea, but as good as Landry's timing was, that's how bad Lankster's timing was.
Former Buffalo Bill, 7th-round draft pick in 2009. Played a little bit in the CFL as well. 3rd and 9 now for the Rams.
I think in the CFL that's legal.
Is that legal? How many downs you get?
I think 2.5 after a play like that.
Shotgun, Bradford. Has time. And a high throw. Didn't see anything downfield. Tried to hit Richardson. And St. Louis with a very shaky 3 and out here in the 3rd quarter.
That's got to be puzzling to Jeff Fisher, especially after his pep talk on the sidelines as they came out from the locker room. Most of the time you do those pep talks in the locker room. It didn't work.
458 yards of offense against one of the best defenses in the NFL last week, San Francisco. Kyle Wilson returning the heckler punt. Wilson dances his way across the 30-yard line and veers out of bounds at the 32. Justin Cole there to make sure of it on special teams. Mark Sanchez, he's been crisp, he's been effective, and the Jets in front on the road. Quarterback comparison, Sam Bradford 11 of 21 for just 89 yards. Mark Sanchez, meanwhile, 11 of 16, 130 yards and a touchdown. There was a penalty. Special teams player ran out of bounds, and it cost St. Louis 5 yards at the end of the run, called by Jerome Boger during that timeout. So the Jets will actually have it at the 37-yard line to open up this drive. Rex Ryan, he put it pretty bluntly, in the NFL, when you lose, the sky is falling.
During the kick, player of the kicking team voluntarily going out of bounds, number 23. The 5-yard penalty was added to the end of the 1st down, New York.
And it's Rodney McLeod Jerome providing that for the television audience. So when you lose, yes, the sky is falling. When you win in the NFL, everything is great. Rex Ryan recognizing that a win will help quell some of the issues, but there's some bigger issues surrounding this Jets team. Bootleg. Sanchez is going to tuck and run and slides just across the 45-yard line. Smart play by Sanchez to turn it into an 8-yard gain. General manager Mike Tannenbaum among those that are feeling the heat right now from this 3-6 season. This was Tannenbaum before the game, executive VP of the team. Woody Johnson, the owner of the team, also had a press conference this week, spoke with the press about some of the team's issues. So you were hearing it from all angles. 2nd and 2 now for New York. Green and Hilliard in the backfield. It's Green, and it's a 1st down.
I think the key is that the company line, if you will, that Ryan has been preaching since the beginning of the season is that the guys in this building, the players, he's happy with their work ethic. He's happy with the way they come to work, and it's them against the world. And that's why it's important sometimes to play on the road, where you really have that feeling. You travel as a team, you stay in the hotel together, you can do everything together, and you're away from all the turmoil and all the extracurricular noise. And the Jets are playing a lot more efficiently and confidently in this ballgame against the Rams.
On a give to Green, and he takes it to midfield. How about the anonymous quotes? Had you ever dealt with that throughout your NFL career, where there were quotes that were popping up in the newspaper?
Yeah, early in my career, we were just a horrible team in San Diego. Harlan Savaria was our head coach, and we had some players on the team that were veterans who had been at other places. And really, once you get anonymous quotes, that begins to fracture your team. People start taking sides, and you are no longer a unit. You're divided, especially if you got a quarterback situation where some guys are rooting for one guy, some guys are rooting for another. The worst thing you can have is gutless players talking anonymously.
2nd and 9. Sanchez. It's a first down as he hits Dustin Keller to the 40-yard line. The anonymous quotes had to deal with Tim Tebow. Daily News had the story earlier in the week, and some defensive players calling Tebow, quote-unquote, terrible. Obviously, then the press is going to follow up, rightfully so. Go to Tebow. Tebow handled it the right way, which he normally does. I'd say he says the right thing basically every single time that he's interviewed. Mark Sanchez was asked about it. Rex Ryan called it cowardly on first down on a give for Powell, and Powell will pick up a yard as Jolon Dunbar makes that stop for St. Louis. And that then forced Woody Johnson, the owner of the team, to come out and address the media. Quote, I didn't sign up for a 3-6 season. We haven't had one in a while. I'm not happy about it, yet I'm optimistic that some of these things can be corrected. So when these things start happening, you just get the feeling that everybody's on the hot seat, especially with the expectations. Sanchez on a slant, and he's got Schillens. Chaz Schillens, that's first down yardage, move the chains, 30-yard line, a 9-yard pickup for the Jets. So methodically now going about their business on offense.
And this is how you cool that seat off, really, is you got to play better, and everybody has to. You got to protect the quarterback better, as they're doing since that first quarter. The seats are always hot under the general manager, the coach, and the quarterback. And even all the way to the different coordinators. In this case, Tony Sperano.
And Brian Schottenheimer felt that heat when he was the offensive coordinator for 6 years in New York.
Schottenheimer's feeling it a little bit today with the fans here, not happy with the way the Ram offense has been performing. Just 7 points for the Rams.
3-yard gain for Powell. Laurinaitis with a tackle. Powell with his 4th carry for 14 yards. Last week suffered a concussion in the second half in that loss to Seattle. And it's not only losing games, it's when you're not competitive in games. The Miami game, the Seattle game, coming off a bye. 2nd and 7 now for the Jets. We're down to 1:47 to play in this 3rd quarter. On the delay, Powell picks up 4 yards. He had some pushing and shoving as Laurinaitis is involved in another stop as Dahl and Gates just got into it a little bit. No harm.
And then it's the perception of making mistakes to hurt yourself. Offensively, turnovers in the red zone, special team gaffes, defense not able to make tackles or able to come up with big plays. And these are the problems that the Jets have had throughout the season.
So now a 3rd and 3. Jason Smith back on. 2 tight ends, big formation, long drive. Sanchez didn't like what he saw one way, goes the other way. Conrad Whelan with the catch, and Whelan is knocked out of bounds by Quintin Michael. 19 yards, and Sanchez makes the right decision.
Well, he had Stephen Hill on a slant route. Didn't like it for some reason. Here's Whelan here. Watch Sanchez look out here to Stephen Hill. For some reason saw the safety coming over that side, and that's just a great job by the quarterback, knowing where your secondary outlet is, and that time Whelan sets the Jets up inside the 5.
1st and goal for the Jets. Green is back in there. On a handoff, Green trying to accelerate into the hole. And play whistle dead after he picks up a yard. Green never went down. 28 seconds left to play in the third.
He's getting a little chippy, aren't they? After every play now, we're getting a little lip service.
Clyde Gates, whose first cousin is Rams running back Daryl Richardson. Both attended Abilene Christian in Texas. And that's going to be the final play of this third quarter. Jets with a 13-7 lead over St. Louis. Will return after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Fourth quarter here in St. Louis. The Jets 13, the Rams 7. Iron Eagle Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew, producer Bob Monsbach, director Suzanne Smith, our associate directors Jonathan Siegel and Todd Carrick, Steve Murphy and Stefan Florival, our broadcast associates. Second and goal for the Jets. First play of the fourth. It's McKnight stumbling and can't remain upright as Laurinaitis got him from behind. It's a loss of 1 on the play.
Now McKnight trying to get to the outside, but Laurinaitis, a tackling machine from the middle linebacker spot. Here he is right here. McKnight wanting to get here, but he's forced to the outside. Penetration there. Fine job by Janoris Jenkins as well. Big third down coming up here for Sanchez.
Third and goal for the Jets. Working from the gun. 12th play of the drive. Long count for Sanchez. Handoff. Powell, a blast up the middle, and he's in. Touchdown, Jets. Bilal Powell with a burst.
Yeah, great call by Sperano. Anticipating that the Rams would be looking for the pass. Rams only had 3 down linemen. Look at this here. 3 down men to rush the passer, and the huge hole right here. There's nobody there for Powell until he gets to the 2-yard line, and because he was so low, he was able to squeeze between tacklers and get in the end zone.
And the first career touchdown for Bilal Powell in his second year from Louisville. Falk the extra point. And the Jets lead it 20-7 with 14:16 to play in the fourth. Pivotal sequence there for the Jets. And it's Powell getting to the end zone.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. We're so confident in our low prices, we guarantee them. And by Acura. Acura Advance.
Twelve plays, 63 yards. Bilal Powell, the 5-yard touchdown run for the Jets, who now lead the Rams 20-7. They're kicking it off to Gibbons. He'll take a knee, and the Rams will have it at the 20-yard line. The last time the Jets won a game, October 14th. Mark Sanchez celebrating. We're still in the fourth. 20-7, the Jets in front. Well, she's into it.
The guy sitting next to her.
He did not appear to be
Even Ohio. He was texting.
20-7, Jets in front. Some injuries. Ellis, the knee injury. We haven't seen him since he suffered that. And Berry now questionable with a quad injury. Gibbons shakes off one tackler and accelerates short of the 25. It's a 3-yard gain. Davis with a tackle for New York. And coming up next, the NFL on CBS continues. Andrew Luck and the Colts take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. Or the Chargers challenge Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Second half of our NFL on CBS doubleheader. Luck, incredible numbers, but the last rookie QB to win in New England, Kerry Collins, 1995, as a member of the Carolina Panthers. Here's Bradford with a deep drop and a throw over the middle, complete to Amendola. Short of a first down, 5-yard pickup. Amendola looks a little shaken up. We head to New York. JB, Coach Cowher.
A career best for the rookie QB.
Oh, how about that Philadelphia secondary? Sometimes they're wide open, sometimes they're double covered. In either case, watch Santana Moss between the two defenders, comes down with it, 61 yards, 24-6, Washington all over Philadelphia.
A 3-touchdown day for RG3, Ian and Dan.
Yeah, the bottom has dropped out in Philadelphia. 3rd and 2. Richardson, first down. Good cut by Richardson to move the chains. 6-yard pickup to the 35-yard line. We still have 12:45 to play.
And it's a 13-point game. That's the thing the Rams got to remember. They get a touchdown here. They're only down by 6, and defense has to step up. But what about Danny Amendola? He came off the field clutching his right shoulder, and that's exactly where he had that collarbone problem that cost him 3 games.
New set of downs for St. Louis. It'll be a pitch for Richardson. And he fumbles the football. Jets have got it. The Rams cough it up as McIntyre jumps on top of it for New York. 3rd turnover of the day for St. Louis.
And it's clearly the Jets' ball as McIntyre dove on that ball. Richardson trying to get to the outside. See who pops it loose here. Looks like Cromartie. No, actually it's Laron Landry with his helmet right to the hip of Richardson. That caused the ball to come out. And another big play by the Jets defense.
Second forced fumble of the season for Landry, the former Washington Redskin. And the Jets will take over in St. Louis territory. Barry Richardson was hurt on the play. The fumble by Daryl Richardson. Jets will have the ball when we come back at a 20-7 lead. 3 turnovers for St. Louis. The Jets have scored 7 points so far off of those Rams mistakes. And they can add to that total with a 1st and 10 inside the 40. Little trickery on the end around. Clyde Gates. Gates has big time speed as he zigzags towards the sideline.
That's just the type of play you like to run after a sudden change here. Here's Gates. Good fake inside here by Sanchez on the fake pitch to Green, the perimeter, along with Schillens. There's 3 turnovers, and 3 times the Jets have started a drive inside the Rams' 40-yard line.
Gates, who played for Sperano in Miami, got cut by the Dolphins, and the Jets picked him up. First rush of the season for Gates, and 1st down for New York. Running into the line, Sean Green, and he is devoured by Michael Brockers. Loss of 1.
That's the type of play this Ram defense needs, because they need to hold the Jets to just a field goal. That would make it a 16-point game. 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions, and we got a tie game. It's a tall order, but it still is there for the Rams. But you got to stop them.
2nd and 11 now. Jets have the New England Patriots coming up on Thanksgiving night, so the quick turnaround this week. And St. Louis will be at Arizona next Sunday. 2nd and long. Stick with the running game. It's Green. Ducking his head. Carries to the 25 for 2.5 yards. Laurinaitis combining with Dahl. This is the upcoming schedule. New England, and then the long layoff before the Arizona game at Jacksonville, at Tennessee. I know you look at the schedule and you say, oh, these are winnable games, but when you're 3-6, nothing's really considered a winnable game. You got to start winning games to get to that point.
And this is a good start. There's no question about it. This has been a pretty good showing by the Jets on offense and defense. Special teams still a little shaky.
271 yards of offense, and against Sanchez, no major mistakes. Sanchez, floater over the middle to Powell. Powell downfield and lowers the shoulder for a 1st down. Jets will keep this drive alive on that left side of the line. Slauson and Mangold helping Powell get some space.
Yeah, watch Mangold there as he's mangling the defensive lineman, then getting out in front, taking out Dunbar there, and a little exclamation point at the end of the run by Powell.
Now, Jeff Fisher felt there was progress. Last week's performance against San Francisco told us he just loves this group of guys. They like to have fun. They work hard. They're not having fun today. Powell with a drive for 4 yards going down low. Bilal Powell coming off a concussion. McKnight had an ankle injury, and Jeff Fisher has seen this rotation of running backs for the Jets hurt his St. Louis defense.
And that was unexpected, really, coming into the game, that McKnight and Powell would have such a contribution. We saw the good kickoff return by McKnight in the first half that set up the Jets near midfield. And now Powell has his first career touchdown last time the Jets had the ball.
Coming into this game, the Jets have been outscored in every quarter of the season. If we total up all the first quarters, the second quarters, and so on. One of 3 teams to qualify in that category. Buffalo and Jacksonville, the other 2. Powell, no gain. Jolon Dunbar with the hit, and that is a tough position to be in. Bradford, helpless feeling. Your team is down 20-7. There's 8:54 to go, and he and Broughton Schottenheimer are just hoping that the offense can come back on the field within striking distance. Jets get a touchdown here, and it's going to be a big task. Here's the rushing numbers for New York. 3rd and 6 now. Handoff, Powell. Below, Powell goes all the way. Touchdown, Jets. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Jets are 8 minutes and 29 seconds away from doing just that.
Well, it's a quick hitter right up the middle. Watch the blocking here, and watch how Powell, with the vision to see the hole to the left side, but the Jets just have the Rams totally on their heels, totally confused whether it's rushing the pass or trying to stop the run. The second half has been a thing of beauty for the Jets offense.
Extra point, Nick Folk. This has by far been the biggest contribution that Bilal Powell has made in his year and change in a Jets uniform. 27-7, Jets.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Audi. Truth in engineering. Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. And by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is here.
An afternoon drive here in St. Louis, but not a lot of successful drives for the Rams here this afternoon. It's the Jets in front, 27-7 with 8:29 to play in the 4th quarter. This is an offense that has really been struggling, but they've been able to bust out thanks to some balance. Got the running game going, and Sanchez has been very good for the Jets. Gibbons nearly lost his footing, and now emerges. Gibbons is ridden down across the 40-yard line, and Schillens just saved a touchdown. 20-point lead for the Jets. Mark Sanchez very animated today in St. Louis. Rams played a quote-unquote home game in London. This is the first game they've played at the Edward Jones Dome since October 21st. That was a 30-20 loss to Green Bay. They have to go back deeper for their last win, which came against Arizona. Stutter step move by Jackson. Steven Jackson still going. Jackson out of bounds. He made Landry miss. Wednesday on CBS. They've survived severe weather. They've survived without food. But can they survive the most annoying castaway ever? New Survivor Wednesday only, CBS. 20-yard run for Steven Jackson. 13 carries, 81 yards for him. Movement, Jets pointing in St. Louis's
False
direction.
start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Roger Saffold called on the hold as we head to New York. NFL Today update, JB, Coach Cowher.
Megatron helping the cause.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford threw a pick 6 earlier, but he rebounded right here, finding Calvin Johnson from 25 yards out. His third touchdown catch of the year. Detroit leads 17-14.
13:39 left in regulation. Back to Ian and Dan.
All right, guys, right side of the line, Barry Richardson is in there. He was injured on the previous series. Bradford dials up the deep ball. Nobody home. Chris Gibbons, the only Ram down there.
Yeah, the Rams jumped out to a 7-0 lead because they had an outstanding opening drive when they went 13 plays. Bradford hit 6 of 8. But since then, it's been terrible performance by Jeff Fisher's offense. Give some credit to the Jet defense. You talked about the balance on offense for New York. Well, they got 3 turnovers and turned 2 of them into 2 touchdowns.
2nd and 15 now in Jets territory at the 41-yard line. 7:31 to go, 4th quarter. Bradford, quick hitter. Amendola, the elusiveness. Brought down at the 31. It's a 10-yard gain for Amendola.
Yeah, obviously, the Rams have to go to the line of scrimmage and pick up the pace here with 7:15 to go in the ball game and trailing by 20.
So now a 3rd and 5. Shotgun for Bradford. He is just over 100 yards throwing. Chris Gibbons' second effort. And Gibbons has got St. Louis a first down inside the 25-yard line.
They're saying he did not get out of bounds, though, so the clock will continue to run.
8-yard pickup for the rookie Gibbons. Sense of urgency here for St. Louis as Jackson secures it for a 3-yard gain. David Harris with a hit for New York. We're down to 6:34 and the clock continues to roll.
You're almost better off throwing that ball on the ground and stopping the clock. What's get 3 yards do for you? Absolutely nothing. You got to put this ball in the end zone on almost every play now. You just don't have enough time.
2nd down. Richardson is in there. Jets are pinning their ears back, trying to put some pressure on Bradford. He hits Richardson. Richardson stumbling inside the 5. Kyle Wilson with a tackle, 18 yards on the catch and run for the rookie.
That's good effort by Richardson, who had that costly fumble last time he touched the ball. Gets inside. Kyle Wilson there almost got to the goal line.
1st and goal now for St. Louis. They're in a 20-point hole with 5:45 to go. From the gun, Bradford lofts it high. It's caught by Gibson. Touchdown Rams. 2nd of the day for Gibson. Bradford able to drop it in the bucket over Antonio Cromartie of the Jets.
Really a fine catch by Gibson. Gibson goes 6 foot tall, but look how he just was able to reach out over the top of Cromartie. Game of inches. Cromartie comes up about 2 shy.
And the Rams are going for 2. Why?
Yeah, to make it a 12-point game. So that'd be 4 field goals, and they'd have a tie then.
Yeah, that's great. They're going to be able to squeeze 4 field goals in the final 5:40.
Well, a couple of onside kicks. You never know, Ryan. Don't give up.
The eternal optimist. 2-point try. And it is in favor of the Jets as Brian Quick was in a matchup with Wilson. 27-13 Jets, 4th quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Get your own tender, juicy Subway steak melt today. And by Volkswagen. It's not the miles, it's how you live them.
Well, back here in St. Louis, the Rams have closed to within 14. The onside kick is coming. Ball deflected. And the Jets have it. It was up for grabs. Well executed by Zuerlein.
And Keller got it at the bottom of the pile. Great effort by Keller coming back for this ball. This was really close to being recovered by the Rams.
It was actually Johnny Hekker who did the honors, not Zuerlein. So Hekker sent off on the field by John Fossil, the special teams coach, and Dustin Keller, as Dan mentioned, comes up with a free ball. That was rolling around a little bit, but Keller able to get his arms wrapped around it, and the Jets have it at the 44-yard line of St. Louis. (27-13). Jets lead it with 5:38 to play. On a give for Green. Green trying to accelerate and just sticks the helmet down and picks up the yard. Go back to that 2-point try for St. Louis. It's 27-13. 14-point differential. Jeff Fisher and the Rams decide to go for 2. Just trying to do some math in my head to understand the logic behind it.
Is this another rhetorical question?
No, this one's real. The first one was rhetorical.
Well, you know, it would have brought them to within 13 with just an extra point kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're really not gaining much by going for 2, and now you put yourself in a position where you got to score 2 touchdowns and convert 2.
Sometimes I question that chart. I don't know if...
I think you blame Dick Vermeil for that.
The chart?
He was carrying that chart around, and I wish he was here right now maybe to explain it to us why Fisher would go for 2 then.
Timeout taken. Dick Vermeil may be watching right now, so he could text you. Timeout. Oh, we're going for an update. NFL Today. We check in with JB and Cowher.
Jacksonville averaging 14.
I have no answer for your question, but how about this one? The Houston defense giving up the 4th touchdown pass from Chad Henne. This one to Justin Blackmon, 81 yards. Justin Blackmon on the day, 6 catches, 221 yards. There's a lot of unanswered questions out there, guys. Jacksonville up 34-20.
Bird and the Beard.
All right, guys. First big game that Blackmon has come up with this year.
Chad Henne delivering in relief.
AFC South standings, Houston with the 8-1 record, Jacksonville coming in with the 1-8 record. So go figure, week in and week out, you just seem to think you have a handle on how things are going to go in this league.
Well, you know, Houston had that tough win against Chicago on the road. And there's always letdowns during a season, especially after you've got a situation where you win on the road against a tough team.
Tim Tebow is in. Mark Sanchez on the sideline on a 3rd and 7. Tebow to run it. Tebow circling. And it's just not working. Rocky McIntosh with the hit.
Well, defenses don't respect Tebow's throwing ability, so they're going to play run all the way. They're going to get as many guys at the line of scrimmage as they can. As you see, the Rams are all looking for the run, and they're staying on their feet. Tebow trying to go wide, doesn't have the speed to get all the way outside. And it's another big loss. 6 yards that time for Tebow.
St. Louis uses a timeout. They have 1 remaining. The Jets have all 3. Playoff picture right now. New England coming up against Indianapolis here on CBS. Denver putting together an outstanding season, and Peyton Manning answering all the questions with a resounding yes. He can still play and play at a high level.
That's more than just a yes. It's unbelievable to come back from what he had to go through, the surgeries, going to a new team, teaching them his offense. He's playing great.
The punt from Malone. Amendola faked it on the fair catch, and the ball bounced exactly where Malone wanted it to. The ball grazed a Jet player right around the 9-yard line. I'm not sure why they're going to spot it at the 3. Should be right at the 9 or 10-yard line, depending upon where they spot it. You can get coverage of every game with NFL Mobile for $5 a month. Watch live streaming with NFL Red Zone as well as NFL Network's coverage. Call ** NFL to download, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. That's Tebow with an interesting hairstyle.
Got Polamalu's hair.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Head and shoulders.
Mostly head.
Yeah, a lot of head. Some shoulders. Out of the gun. Bradford with 4:25 to play. Short route for 7 to Gibson. Now Sam Bradford, feeling was he took a big step forward last week against one of the premier defenses in the NFL. And this week, just no big plays, no flow. Bradford almost had it knocked free by Lancaster. Incomplete. He tried to dart it to Jackson.
Hey, you wonder what the disappointment of that tie game. A lot of the players didn't even realize that you don't play all the way out to a win. And to go all the way out to San Francisco, outplay them for most of the game, then have too many errors, mistakes that cost you.
Well, Aaron Berry, who had been struggling with a quad injury, and he has been forced into action because of various injuries. Of course, the Darrelle Revis injury being the biggest one for the Jets. The knee injury, Isaiah Trufant going down last week with a left knee injury as well, placed on IR. Well, last week, Phil Simms questioned whether Eli Manning was an elite quarterback. This week, it's Luck versus Brady in the spotlight on NFL Monday QB tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
I think if you get 2 Super Bowl rings, that question needs to be asked.
So you put him in the elite status.
Way in the elite status.
3rd and 3 now for the Rams. Under 4 minutes to go. Pocket collapsing. Bradford. Incomplete. Steven Jackson, the intended receiver, on the sling from Bradford. It's 4th down, and they have to go for it here. Jeff Fisher's team got beaten soundly in London by New England, 45-7. That was before the bye week. And then looked refreshed in their performance against San Francisco. Had a number of opportunities to win the game in regulation, in overtime. Couldn't do it. They settled for the tie. And then this week they've looked flat on offense. 4th and 3. They deal with the rush. And Bradford hits his man, Lance Kendricks. And Kendricks comes up limping at the end of the play. 7-yard pickup. Able to get off, doesn't cost his team their final timeout. Incomplete. A lot of short stuff here. Dink and dunk for the Rams as David Harris with a smack on Richardson. They're checking out Kendricks as we head to New York. JB and the coach.
Dez Bryant, career receiving yards.
Scored two halves, 13-0 at halftime, 17 unanswered. Dez Bryant, 28 yards. Tony Romo, and now the Dallas Cowboys with 6:46 to go. JB, they're up 17-13.
124 receiving yards for him, Ian and Dan.
They just don't do it easy. It just never comes easy to the Dallas Cowboys.
They're very enigmatic, I would say.
2nd and 10. Bradford, the gun. Incomplete, trying to get it to Amendola. And Jeremiah Bell makes the play for New York.
Now, this is why you see so many dink and dunk passes. Defense playing very deep, looking for anything that's down the field. That ball thrown late to Amendola. See how he had to wait for this ball. That allowed Jeremiah Bell to make a break on it, knock it down.
We asked Bell about Bradford. He said, yeah, I'm impressed, but he's still learning. He's a young quarterback. He thought the Jets could confuse him and give him some difficult looks, which they have been able to do here today. 3rd and 10. Rush coming. Bradford has to get rid of it. Jeremiah Bell and McIntyre, and a flag down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 50. Illegal contact to the helmet of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
And totally unnecessary by Garrett McIntyre. Jeremiah Bell coming on the blitz as well. Here's McIntyre, here's Bell. But watch as Bradford gets rid of the ball. Watch McIntyre's helmet go right to the face mask of Bradford. Easy call for Jerome Boger.
Bradford had already gotten rid of the ball. Play was over. But McIntyre could not make the right play.
I'm not sure what this discussion's about here either. Be an automatic 1st down.
It was an intentional grounding.
After consultation, we also have intentional grounding on the offense. Number 8. There was no receiver in the area. The foul's all set. Replay, 3rd down.
What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, well, they're right. There is nobody in the area, and the ball was thrown before the contact happened, so it's offsetting penalties.
Jeff Fisher is pointing to the replay on the big screen.
There's nobody within 20 yards of that ball. Not sure how it looks on the big screen either.
I think it looked just the same, Dan. I believe it's the same exact pictures.
That was a rhetorical answer.
Oh, rhetorical question. 3rd and 10. Bradford loops out of trouble. Flag is thrown. A hold. Bradford gets rid of it. Darrell Richardson was trying to stave off the rush of Demario Davis, the rookie.
It's going to be holding against the Rams.
during the play, holding, offense, number 26. That penalty is declined, 4th down.
And now it's 4th down for St. Louis.
And this team showing its youth here in the second half.
Agreed.
You can see Richardson reaching out, and he's going to try to drag down Demario Davis.
4th down, 3:14 to play. Jets with a comfortable lead on the Rams, unless St. Louis can get something going on this drive and put some pressure on New York. Gets rid of it quickly. Incomplete. Now Bradford does not look good here today for the Rams. 1 for his last 7. And St. Louis gives it up to the Jets. Coming up, Indianapolis at New England, San Diego at Denver. And also, time permitting, after the game, it's the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance. JB and the rest of our crew, the latest NFL scores and highlights.
You know, the Colts have won their last 4 games. Stepping up in class, though.
A little bit.
Going to Foxborough, facing Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Well, that's part of the storyline. The rookie quarterback going against Bill Belichick. Sanchez on a give for Powell. And Powell able to burst through that hole for a gain of 3. Now Mark Sanchez today, 15 of 20, 178 yards and a touchdown.
And what he did so impressively was get the ball to different receivers. 7 different receivers on the afternoon. Everybody contributing. Getting Curley back was huge. He's playing in that slot. That draws a lot of attention. Schillings has had a good day on the outside. But, you know, getting this offensive line a lot of credit, too, because earlier in the game, Sanchez had been sacked 3 times. He fumbled once, recovered that. But the offensive line has taken control since then with the ground game and the pass protection.
Bilal Powell up the gut. McIntosh with the stop for St. Louis. And Tony Sperano has found the right balance. 133 rushing yards for the Jets, 165 yards through the air. And a timeout called by St. Louis with 2:23 left. Wednesday in primetime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style. It's inside the NFL, and it's Wednesday on Showtime. Last time the Jets won a game, have to go back to October the 14th. 3 straight losses. The bye was in there as well. And this is going to go down unless something happens as the second time this season that the Jets did not have a turnover. The other game happened to be that game, the Indianapolis game.
It's funny how that works, isn't it? You don't give the ball to the other team.
It's pretty simple.
Yep, and you can see what the Rams have done today with 3 turnovers. The Jets cashed in for 14 points. But, you know, you go without a win, and you're not a winner until you win again. I know that sounds kind of silly, but when you win a game, you only win for like 24 hours. You got to get ready for that next game. So this is a great relief for the New York Jets to be winners again with a tough game coming up on Thursday.
Fake the pitch, and Eugene Sims brings down Sanchez for a loss of 7 on the play. But St. Louis cannot stop the clock. No timeouts remaining. Clock will stop with 2 minutes to go. And the Jets with a 27-13 lead on the Rams. Will come back with the final 2 minutes at the Edward Jones Dome after this on CBS. Not a big role today for Tim Tebow. 5 offensive plays and a fake punt that the Jets were unable to convert. This is a 44-yard field goal attempt to pad the lead with 2 minutes left for Nick Folk. Malone the holder, 2 minutes left. And Folk missed it. 1:56 to play. Rams have no timeouts left, and they'll take over trailing by 14.
And Folk and Malone talking it over. Folk not happy with the set down by Malone. It's like a golfer blaming the tee box sometimes. Teed it up too high, teed it up too low.
So the Rams have it 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. 1:56 remaining here in the 4th. Richardson is in there, just to the side of Bradford. Rush is coming. Bradford looks downfield, now trying to run. Bradford out of bounds. 5-yard gain for Bradford. Stops the clock with 1:48 remaining. Coming up for the Jets, that Thursday night game against New England, Thanksgiving night. And then home for Arizona, at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, San Diego, and at Buffalo to wrap things up. You think back to 2009, they were 4-6. They had lost 3 in a row. And Rex Ryan's team won 5 of their last 6 games, made the playoffs, and went on a run to the AFC Championship game. So there is a frame of reference. The issue is the feeling that was a better team than this one. Long throw, and Givens in a matchup with Kyle Wilson.
It's obviously too early to talk about playoff chances
Sure.
for the Jets, but you look at that schedule. Remember the Thursday night game. Thursday nights have been awful good to the home team.
They have.
And if the Patriots eat a lot of turkey before the ball game, you know, that sleeping thing.
Tryptophan,
yeah, that too.
That thing.
That might help the Jets as well.
This is your analysis.
At this point of the game, it's as good as I got, man. This is the bottom of my bucket. But think about that Thursday night. I know you'll be there for Dial Global Radio, and you tell me what happens.
Well, they play the Patriots tough. We know that through the years. And it's a turnaround for both teams. A quick turnaround as Bradford tries another long ball. And apparently there's a Power Ranger here as well.
That's where I get my information.
From this guy. Up. Unmasked. 1 year ago, November 17th, at Denver. Tebow accounted for 92 of the Broncos' 95 total yards on the game-winning drive. And then this one. Tebow time.
But it was Tebow's offense. They had totally committed to Tim Tebow in Denver. Kyle Orton was benched for Tebow. The offense was put in Tebow's hands. He got all the practice time. The scheme was all his. It's just not the case here with the Jets, as they have committed to Mark Sanchez as their franchise quarterback. And Tebow is basically a role player.
Well, I think that's part of the perception. Oh, just make the change, put Tim Tebow in and see what he can do. Well, that involves a lot of steps along the way to make sure that Tim Tebow is in the offense that plays to his strengths, not the one that they run currently with Mark Sanchez.
You just don't have the practice time. You don't have double days to work with as you do in training camp when you're putting in your offense and your schemes. Remember, this is the first year as the Jets offense coordinator, Tony Sperano. He brought his style of offense in. Tried to mix in some of the Tebow things, the Wildcat plays that they had with quarterback coach David Lee in Miami. They were so effective for a brief time with Ronnie Brown.
Bradford throws incomplete over the middle. The other part of the equation also, Denver didn't have a whole lot financially committed to Kyle Orton. They do, the Jets do, with Mark Sanchez. He's going to make a guaranteed $8.3 million next year. They made him one of the top picks in the draft when he came out. Sanchez in 2009. They traded up to get him.
And Sanchez has led the team into the playoffs early in his career. That cannot be overlooked.
So now 3rd and 10 for St. Louis with 1:16 left. Once again out of the gun. Bradford steps. He throws to Givens, trying to make a beeline towards the sideline. Couldn't do it. Smith brings him down. It's a loss of 1 on the play. And the clock continues to move. We will go under a minute to go with the Jets in front, 27-13. Fourth down for the Rams. Gets rid of it underneath to Givens. And short of a first down, that'll do it. 41 seconds remaining. And don't forget, second half of our NFL on CBS doubleheader is coming up. Indianapolis at New England. San Diego matched up with Denver.
Desperate game for the Chargers going into Denver. bitter taste of that meltdown when they met earlier this year when Peyton Manning led the Broncos to an incredible second-half comeback to beat San Diego in San Diego.
The Rams drop to 3-6-1. The Jets improve to 4-6. Take a knee. Down to 35 seconds left. The Jets have a pulse. They knock off the Rams 27-13 to snap a 3-game losing streak. Rex Ryan knows Jeff Fisher from way back. Rex was a ball boy for the Bears when his dad Buddy was the defensive coordinator, and Jeff Fisher played on that squad. The Jets get it done on the road. 27-13 the final as they defeat the St. Louis Rams. Coming up next, game 2 of our doubleheader. The Colts meet the Patriots. The Chargers battle the Denver Broncos. And that's it from here in St. Louis. For Dan Fouts, our entire CBS crew, I'm Ian Eagle. So long from the Edward Jones Dome. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Let's go to the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance and JB.